Hey everybody, it's Dr. Shawn Powers, and I was getting in the habit of doing a video every day called Make It Happen Monday. But quite a few things have happened over this last week that I decided that instead of today calling it Make It Happen Monday, I wanted to call it Make It Easier Monday. Make it easier for maybe yourself or someone you know or love. The other day I was standing on the side of looking out over the ocean and watching the sunset. And I got this terrible pang in my heart, missing my dad desperately. Now, my dad's been gone, I think, almost 8 years. But it struck me because all of my life growing up in Chicago, I would ask my dad, what's your favorite color? And he would say sky blue pink. And I never really knew what that meant until I got older and I started to watch sunrises and sunsets. And I can go for a long time without even thinking twice about my dad or how long he's been gone. And then something like that, boom, I get that pain, that missing, that heartfelt thing. So I know right now December is really hard for people. It's a joyous time, it's an exciting time, and there are friends of ours and family members who are grieving. And so I just wanted to give you 7 things to make it easier for you to help yourself maybe and those you care about during this time of the year. The first thing I want to say to you is that grief has no timeline and it has no deadline. And I'm a perfect example of that because boom, I was just standing there at the end of a beautiful day, being thankful and grateful. And all of a sudden I'm so choked up. And I know I shared that on that day and a lot of people responded in the same way. So the first thing I want you to realize is that for any of your loved ones or your friends, I just got off of the phone with a client whose mom died. One of my best friend's fathers died on Wednesday. Another one of my best friend's fathers died a month ago. And so I know there's people out there who are suffering, who have really recent losses. And some of us have, it's been a year or two, but again, I want to remind you, there is no timeline, there's no deadline, and it can rear its sad face at any given time. So what I want you to really think about, number 1 step to make it easier to support the people that you know and love or support yourself is just be you, right? And if you're trying to help somebody, be you and be there. I know oftentimes people are worried about what's the right thing to say or what's the right thing to do. And because of their lack of confidence or certainty or experience in that, somebody's saying they can feel that, right? If you have lack of experience or lack of confidence, if you haven't been around grief or grieving people a long time, all I can suggest to you from my own personal experience is be you and be there. Don't avoid the situation. It's really, really hard for people when they are going through that, when their friends scatter or their loved ones don't stay connected. So be you, be there, don't avoid. But I'm going to say, be conscious. I learned this during the loss of my niece. I was just such a cheerleader and wanted to talk about the good things or, a perspective on things. And it was the wrong thing to do. And thank God my family was kind enough to say, hey, Shawn, not now. That's not the best thing. That's not what we need to hear. So be you, be there, don't avoid. And one of the articles that I read when we lost my 30-year-old niece, or she was at 29, is that oftentimes grief is like a cloak. It's so heavy and so enveloping. And then sometimes the wind picks it up and lifts it up a little bit. And I think that's how we can be to those friends and family members who are grieving. We can be that cloak that maybe we just be the wind under that heavy cloak that they're carrying, lift it up a little bit by being there, being us, and not avoiding. The second thing that I know from my own personal experience that has really worked is that to keep things simple. Don't overwhelm. Don't, just do something as simple as make something, go to the house, clean up, run errands, get groceries. If you're in the snowy land like some of you are right now, shovel the sidewalk. When my niece died, the restaurant my nephew worked at all of a sudden just called and asked how many people were there, and they brought over, like they were catering an event, they brought over so much food. They didn't ask us what we wanted to order. They didn't ask us if we wanted food. All they said is, do you have family there and how much? And they descended upon us simply, elegantly, and easily, and nourished us with their kindness and with the food. So don't overwhelm. Don't ask questions. Don't say, if you need me, call me, because sometimes the grief is so heavy. The idea of asking, picking up a phone, or even being clear about what you need, you don't even know. So show up for your friends, your loved ones, by not overcomplicating things, being simple. Don't ask, don't overwhelm, just do little things that would make a difference. Now, as I told you, one of my best friends lost her husband, or lost her dad a week ago. I'm not next door to her, I'm far away, but there's little things that I can do from afar to let her know she's not alone, she's loved, and hopefully to just make her feel in a moment that somebody else is thinking about her. So the third thing I want to mention is to accept and support. Accept who they are and support them. Grief, different people show grief in many different ways. Some people cry like crazy, some people don't cry at all. Some people look like they're normal while they're fractured on the inside. So whatever the loved one or friend of yours is going through, just accept them and support them. Don't try to make them do normal, especially around this time. Don't try to make them do Christmas. Don't try to make them go to church or whatever you think would be best for them or normal. Just accept them and support them in their choices. One of the things I know that I did when we lost my niece that wasn't, I would say, avoid this, is I would say things like, at least, she got this, or at least her and I got to have time together in Oxford, or at least, and that doesn't feel like really good to the person who's lost somebody. Or I remember when my dad died, somebody said, well, at least he had 92 good years. And I thought, yeah, he did. He had 92 good years, but he's gone. Right? So at least at that moment in time, that was not what I wanted to hear. So just be conscious, be connected, accept and support. The fourth thing is, I think it's really important to speak the name of the loved ones. My sister-in-law said to me she was so afraid people would forget our Sarah, her daughter. And so we make a conscious decision to use her name, say her name, remember what she likes. I planted orange roses because she loved the color orange. When they bloom, I take pictures. I send them to my sister-in-law, anything that's orange. So speak the name of the loved ones. Do things in their honor. Celebrate them and remember about what they liked, what they did, what they didn't like, right? And just keep their memory alive. That means a lot to the people who are going through grief. And then the fifth step thing that I know that worked for us and for me is to invite, don't push. So what I want you to realize is, again, grief shows up in all different ways. I have a girlfriend who lost her son. She didn't seem like she missed a beat, right? She would be at an event, she'd show up, and then all of a sudden she'd just be gone, right? And so people can only do what they can. So invite, don't push, expect plans to change, and just accept them the way they are. Don't judge. Everybody feels it and experiences it differently. The sixth thing is what my sister-in-law told me helped her a lot. Like, the idea of talking to somebody was overwhelming. But I have another girlfriend whose brother, when he died, I knew she was like worried about the family drama and all the things going on. And every once in a while I would just text her or breathe. And she said that helped her so much. My sister-in-law, I would send her praying hands or a heart and I love you. And she said that would help so much. So not long conversations, not need for them to have to respond to you, but send them a text, send them a meaningful card, send them something that you know will make a difference to them, but not overburden them, not make them feel responsible to engage with you. And this was hard for me, is listen when somebody's going through their grief. Just listen. Don't try to fix it. You know, I coach and mentor people for a living. I always am looking for a solution, and this is something that cannot be solved. There is no proper way to do it. It's your way or your friend's way. There's no deadline. There's no timeline. There's no expiration date. So listen without trying to fix. Now, if you're somebody who's grieving right now, I just would hope that you take really, really good care of yourself and that you are surrounded by people who know the right thing to do, or that you're comfortable and love them enough to tell them if they're not doing what you need to do. So instead of make it happen Monday, make it easier. There's all sorts of people around us, and maybe even people you don't know what they're going through right now. So be the most loving, kind human being, free of judgment, and just be you, because that makes a difference, and be connected to the people that need you. So I love you and I appreciate you. And for those of you who follow me on my business page, I'll be over there on Tuesday. And know that you are loved. Know that you're being prayed for. Hugs are being sent virtually. And if I can do anything for you, please don't hesitate to let me know. Thanks so much. Have a beautiful day. Make it easy for somebody.